I've been thinking a lot about whether I should make this video, and I finally decided to do it. It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of time with my therapist for me to be able to be put in a position in which I could tell my story. Now, I want to start this video by saying that my intent is not to offend anyone. I am not here to bash the Jehovah's Witnesses. I am not here to talk bad about them. I feel that a lot of people that are Jehovah's Witnesses have a very beautiful, kind, pure heart, and they are trying to do the best that they can with what they have. And I have a lot of positive memories about a lot of people there. And again, my goal with this video is only to inform because I would have wanted to be able to make an educated decision about my future before I started to pursue things that ended up not being uh, not being what I expected them to be in a moral standard or in a right way or even a biblical way. Um, and I just wanted to just put it out there. If this story helps you, awesome. If it doesn't, and you just hate me and you're like, you suck, dude, okay, that's fine too. So I want to start from the very beginning, and I may ramble a little bit. I'm not gonna edit this video because, look, I'm not here to make. This is just about sharing the story, helping people. So anyway, I was born into Jehovah's Witnesses. I am a second generation, uh, and from an early age, I took a lot of things to heart. I feel. I became a publisher, unbaptized publisher at the age of 9. I gave I don't know if people remember back in the day it used to be called the number 4 talk, and then it became the number 3 talk. I did that at the age of 14 or 13 or so. Um, and I got baptized at the age of 15. A little later, because I've seen younger people that get baptized younger. Uh, but uh, I got baptized at 15. And I remember that the reason that I did it was because I told to myself that I could never really see myself at that age, at age 15, ever leaving the witnesses. And in hindsight, that was not the best thought for a 15-year-old because if this has been your entire life up until that point, how could you ever see yourself leaving the witnesses? I know there's some people they watch that may be like, well, that's your fault. Is it? But I'm gonna, leave you with your opinion. That's fine. That's cool. Um, so, long story short, I became a ministerial servant at the age of 19. I was giving public talks probably about 21 years old, and I started going out to other congregations and giving public talks at the age of 22 or so. And I became an elder at the age of 29. Um, and so it was the elders meetings and what I saw in those meetings that led to me eventually leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I want to just explain that. Um, all of the things that I saw in those elders meetings that didn't sit well with me. Um, and just explain, I guess, because not everybody has the chance to be behind the scenes and go to an elders meeting, and then everybody sits down and takes out their SFL and we read it and whatnot. So I wanted to just share that story. So I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit. So, like a lot of people, um, of course, including myself, when you're born in, you're born or you're raised around other witnesses, kids, and well, I remember, I remember some of the older ones would be like, "Hey, you guys gotta, take care of yourself, your spirituality, because Satan is out to hunt you and he's gonna take you out and all of this stuff." And well, I mean, in a way, I guess they were right. I think everybody knows that a lot of the young ones end up leaving. A lot of it is because of sexual immorality, fornication, porneia. Um, it could be other things, but the main one is that. And so, um, hear this. I was never in a judicial committee at all, because I was a pretty good kid. Like, I was a good witness. Literally, I did the work. But I had two friends, two very close friends of mine that really touched me to heart what their story was. And that was what eventually led to me leaving what happened to them. So here's the story in a nutshell. Um, the one friend, he was dating someone. Something happened, and you know exactly what I'm talking about that happened. And so he would always tell me, even when he'd already moved to another state. I think I might have been early 20s by then. And when just sent him a text just to check in on him, tell him how he's doing, or ask him, um, he tells me he's disfellowship. And he says something along the lines of someone lied about something that he did. Someone made up something, made up a story, um, because apparently the first time that he actually did, of course, like I said earlier, there was something that happened with his girlfriend at the time, and but he had his judicial. He was not removed or disfellowship from the congregation. Apparently, someone else said something, and well, he gets pulled into another judicial committee and or a committee of elders if you're a newer generation witness, um, and well, he got removed, and even when he came back, he would keep telling me what happened or what I was accused of doing didn't happen. And this is a guy that had just he had already gotten uh, he'd already come back to the witnesses. He got reinstated. Uh, we went out to dinner because we were a little older at this time. We just these cool mid 20-year-olds just talking about their uh, teenage years, and but he's telling me, hey, like this that didn't happen. Like I was just accused of XYZ and it didn't happen. And it just like I could kind of hear someone that's watching this video. Well, he actually did it. Did he? I don't think that there was any reason why he would lie to me about doing that, or not doing that. Like, especially when he's telling me, "Hey, like the first time I actually did do the thing, and I got pulled into a judicial. I did not get this fellowship because I was repentant. But then, hey, like lo and behold, someone just comes over and just accuses me as whatever. and he ends up getting the can. So anyway, so that always kind of like, I'm like, what's going on? Like, it kind of just showed me like the elders can make mistakes, and I don't know, like I could kind of hear someone in the audience or listening to the video like, well, yes, they're imperfect. Yeah, they are, but you're playing with people's lives. Like this is not something that you want to be joking around with. You don't want to take this casually, and you don't want to like be around be like, hey, Jehovah, he anoints people, he chooses and he directs the elder body and decisions. And but then on the other hand, when things go wrong, well, they're imperfect. It cannot be both things at the same time. Like it just never really sat well with me. So anyway, we keep it going. um so here is the crazier story to me. So I have a different friend, another friend that I told you guys earlier. Similar situation, dating a girl. They're both witnesses. They do something. Apparently, I guess I know a little bit more detail about this one situation. Apparently, they hid it for a little while. They ended up breaking up over the entire thing. Um, and so, mind you, I was friends with both of them. I was friends with him and I was friends with her. And so, long story short, he ends up feeling guilty about doing that and hiding it. And so he goes to her and tells her, hey, I'm telling the elders. Um, and he does. So we share the same kingdom hall. We're not in the same congregation. I see him waiting outside the kingdom hall because he's going through his judicial process. And I was a servant at this time. And of course, I'm going to the hall a lot for different things. And because, like I said, I was I was very involved in it. And I see him outside, and I remember he's crying, and I give him a hug, and I say, "Hey, like everything's gonna be fine." Um, and these next words will forever haunt me because I told him I will always be your friend, and I can again kind of hear someone in the audience being like, "Hey, you shouldn't say that when he's going through judicial committee." Well, I have a heart. And so sorry for rambling too much and kind of like losing my train of thought for a little bit, but so he cries in my shoulder. um I'm trying to console him, trying to um, encourage him. And so long story short, he ends up getting disfellowshipped or removed. She does not. Now, okay, let's talk about the logistics here. So he is the one that confessed. She didn't want to confess. He gets his fellowship. She doesn't. They both were two adults engaging in sexual relations with each other. Um, and like, do you like? Can you like see the like lack of? There's something weird here. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if this had anything to do with it. Um, I hear that it is the experience of some people. She was the daughter of an elder. He was not, and he was African American, or he is African American, and she is white. Could race, could rank within the WWE system have had anything to do with it? Maybe, maybe not. But there's just something illogical going on here. Like I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I remember talking to the older ones in the congregation um, that would try to encourage me. And I would tell them all of these things that I'm telling you. And they would be like, hey, you weren't at the elders' meetings. You didn't see everything. You don't know all the details. And so eventually, um, I followed that advice. I thought that if I kept going, if I kept going to the meetings, um, working hard, that I want to leave it in Jehovah's hands. Let Him do His thing. If there was any injustice committed, let it happen. Here's the thing: that one friend was so hurt by what happened that he eventually um, fell into what a lot of people would call apostasy. Now, I want to ask, are the apostates evil? Are they bad people? Maybe for the witnesses they are. But I want to kind of bring to light something that if that guy was wrongly disfellowshipped, you or the organization or the witnesses created that monster. You can hide from it. You can be like, that wasn't me, that was Satan. You can point the finger at whoever you want. But it seems to me that the very actions that you made are what created that monster. And someone can easily be like, hey, well, he left Jehovah. He didn't love Jehovah. He just was evil. Was he? Uh, when that happened, he was doing pretty good. He was an exemplary ministerial servant and pioneer. He was everything that you wanted him to be. All of the things that you kind of encourage him to do. And now all of a sudden, this happens and you kind of like just bring him down that pedestal and just like, yeah, he's evil. And I don't know. I don't know. Look, this is just my thoughts right now. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but I'm just like kind of like thinking how I see it. So anyway, all of that happens. Hey, I go on and I keep it going. I don't think at this time I was a pioneer, so I double down on it. I become pioneer, go to pioneer school. Everything is going great. I'm going out to all these congregations, giving public talks, doing everything you told me to do. Or not you, but the older ones told me to do. And yeah, I mean, eventually I became an elder. And you want to know how long I lasted as an elder? I lasted a year before I realized that I just couldn't do it anymore. I just could not support what I was seeing. And so here are some of the stories. I would love to say raw and unfiltered, but I'm not gonna say that because I do have to withhold some information. Um, but the first situation that we had to deal with was regarding CSA that had been committed by someone in the congregation decades ago. And the Watchtower knows about it because they sent a letter that we had to read that had specific instructions about how to handle this one particular guy. And yeah, so that was my first situation. And again, um, this guy was not a registered sex offender. Um, the police was never called. And he, from what I heard, this had happened to three minors in that congregation. Um, and that was the first situation. That was the first domino that that fell for me. The other one had something to do with an elder that he was really good guy, older gentleman in his 70s. And so the elders had to sit down and talk about his qualifications. And so the reason his qualifications were being brought to the table was because he had two children that were or are inactive. But though they're inactive, they're not practicing witnesses, and they're living a life that let's call it what it is. They're biblically condemned, I guess. Um, so I don't want to get into the dealings, and I'm probably rambling on too much about that one particular one thing. But so um, this elder was spending so much time with them, and the other elders took offense to that, and they were like, "Hey, you can't talk to your children. If anybody says that Jehovah's Witnesses don't shun their children, they do, or shun. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, they shun their children, um, and yeah, they do, 100%. Yeah, this guy had been. It'd been weeks, perhaps even months, that this guy had been the other elders have been like pushing on him even before I became an elder. They were like, "Hey, you gotta stop that! You gotta stop it! You gotta stop that! You gotta stop that! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" And then it came to a head, when I became an elder. It wasn't a long time uh, after I became an elder that happened, and I could see this older gentleman that all he wanted was to spend some time with his kids. And eventually he ended up getting removed as an elder. And the elders were all shocked when his wife took offense to everything that happened. And I'm like, why are they so shocked? I mean, duh. Like, but but anyway, so that happened, um, and I remember having to kind of pick up the pieces of their heart, um, because they were really hurt by what happened. Because, of course, I think this is what a lot of people don't understand, is that whenever someone loses their privileges, um, or whenever someone's approved, that gets announced from the platform. And that is immediate shame. So you're publicly humiliated for something, and in some cases, people start treating you differently. And in the case of someone who gets disfellowshipped or removed or reproved, they get shunned. Where there's light shun, medium light shun, or really, you know, very hard shun. Or yeah. you get shunned. um, and That's inhumane. I'm calling it like it is. Um, so, okay, fast forward. The other case that I had to deal with was a ministerial servant that was leaving the congregation. And he was a pretty good guy. I mean, I had nothing against him. I felt like he was trying to just, yeah, he was trying to grow. And sure, did he probably want to be an elder? Yeah, maybe. I'm sure he did. But on one end, to tell you, hey, aim to be an elder. But then when you do, they're like, hey, you're trying too hard. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, um, I'm just so anyway. So he was leaving the congregation, and we have to talk. The elders, we have to talk about whether we're going to recommend him as a ministerial servant or pioneer, or whatever he is. In this case, he was a ministerial servant and pioneer, and I get the agenda for the meeting, and get it. We got to talk about the qualifications of brother John Doe. And I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a piece of cake. And I'm like, there's no reason why we're not gonna recommend this guy. It's like I'm like, all right, so I go to the meeting. I'm like, it's gonna happen on a Sunday. We have our meeting. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be able to get out of this elder meeting in 5 minutes. It's gonna be a quick one. So I go in, and like three elders are like, hey, I don't want to recommend him because this, and that. And it was just like all bogus reasons. It's like, why? Why are you guys like so hung up on, hey, he is too friendly with this sister. And I'm like, so? um, he wasn't like it wasn't like he was like visibly doing anything that would like show them, that he was doing anything wrong. Um, and if you had a problem with the guy, maybe you want to like, maybe you want to give him some advice. Well, you do it. Hey, pull him aside. Hey, like, I noticed this. Maybe you shouldn't do that. But like, all of a sudden, to like, hey, we can't recommend him because X, Y, Z. And I was just sitting there like, what in the hell? Like, what are these guys talking about? And so, yeah, like it was really bogus. And that one really messed me up. That one really messed me up because, look, I'm telling these stories to say that, yeah, there is dirty laundry inside the Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, they do things that are unethical and I would say inhumane at all as well. But um, these guys are just human. And someone they could be watching the video again could be like, hey, well, yeah, they're imperfect. What are you talking about, man? Well, you're messing with people's lives. Like, it was one thing if these guys are, just counseling people and they don't have the power to disfellowship or excommunicate you for doing the wrong thing. Um, but when you have people's lives in the palm of your hand, that you can dictate whether their family will talk to them again. This is not something that can be played lightly. This is not something that you should be arrogant about. Well, God has our back and Jehovah is helping us. No. That's not how you do it. You need to be very aware of your circumstances and like who you are. What are your, do you have any bias towards this brother or that sister? But they just have such a casual attitude about normal human questions because and I'm ranting a little bit here. It's just like they like they're so hung up on we have Jehovah's backing. that they just get so arrogant to think that their opinion matters because they think that, hey, well, because I'm chosen by Jehovah and I'm an elder, well, I see that this guy is doing XYZ. And look, the main reason I left is because the entire judicial system of the witnesses is absolute crap. It's crap. And I know that this might be offensive to some people, but I was an elder. Like, it's not like a lot of people that are going to be watching this, I would say a lot of them that may have something against what I'm saying. You guys have never been in a elders meeting. Like, sorry to rant a little bit here, but it is just, it's crazy. It is just absolutely bogus, um, and irresponsible, completely irresponsible. So I double down on that. The entire judicial system of the Jehovah's Witnesses is absolute crap. It's crap. The entire thing just has to go. Like, it just, ugh. And I know that some people are gonna be like, "Well, this is the best that we got." Like, this is when you have people's hands in the palm of your hand, people's lives in the palm of your hands. This is not something that you want to take lightly. You're messing with people's lives. Like, this is not a joke. This is not a drill. um, but anyway, so here comes the dagger for me. So the organization started to make these changes. One of the first changes was um, allowing beards for brothers. And eventually it was also allowing slacks for sisters, um, and then allowing brothers to not wear a tie. That one bothered me a little bit because um, here I was at this point, a 30-year-old, growing my first beard because some guys in New York said that it was okay. And that is just ridiculous. But anyway, that's just crazy. Anyway, moving on. So they make that change. I remember this one guy. We were out on service, and he's like, "Well, I kind of took offense to the fact that the governing body didn't apologize because there was a good number of young people in our kingdom hall because they were from another state. They had just moved, and that left. One of the reasons they left is because they couldn't grow a beard. So, kind of took that into perspective. So, all of a sudden, beards are okay. Even though everybody could tell you for a long time that, beards are okay. Like, what is your problem with beards? What is the governing body's problem with beards? And I could almost hear again someone listening being like, "Well, they had their reasons because um, back in the day the beards were um, they were associated with rebellion and all of that." And what I say to that is Acts 15:28. Like in Acts 15:28, like the apostles, everybody that was meeting, they're talking to people and giving them some advice about some dispute that's going on. And they say, "We don't want to add any more burden to you aside from these necessary things." So your mind, um, when it comes to doctrine, Don't put any more heavy burden on people. And now the people are going to the meetings and they've been working for a couple of days and now they need to shave. And you're adding burden to people's lives. You're adding burden unnecessarily. And the thing is, like, if someone questions the governing body on that at that time, oh my God, they would have gotten the can. Like, sorry. It just, like, I don't want to rant too much, but it is just so illogical. What in the heck? Like, anyway, so that happens. Then it was the big one. They changed to disfellowshipping. And they decided to be a little more merciful with people that get removed from the congregation. They can now say hi to them at the Kingdom Hall. They have more time. You can meet, the elders can meet with them more than one time to try to get them to repentance. And I, as the elders, we had a letter from the branch. We all had to meet and discuss these new changes or this new light together as a body. And I walked into that and I was like a zombie because I've had friends that have gotten this fellowship removed that have suffered. I have family members who've gotten removed and shunned and disfellowshipped and suffered. And like them, there are many thousands and millions of people who have seen a loved one or a friend get disfellowshipped. Some people that get disfellowshipped commit suicide because the shunning is too much. Some, like my friend, um, they end up leaving. And they turn against the witnesses. And so now all of a sudden it's okay to do all of these things. And I think it just showed me how human the entire thing is. And I lost my faith that this is God's organization. And from there, I had to do a lot of soul searching or try to understand myself better. And I've come to other conclusions about the organization. Um, but I'm not going to get into any of that. This is your journey, this is your path. And I'm not going to take that away from you. There's plenty of videos if you don't want to watch them on the internet. There's plenty of articles about trying to debunk a lot of the doctrines of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Um, and I feel like I might be doing a little bit of a disservice because that wasn't the end to my story. Um, that was just the beginning of my leaving, but it was the needle that broke the camel's back, and I want to say that the craziest thing about all of this was realizing that I couldn't speak up. Because if you've ever been a witness, you know that the governing body cannot be questioned. They can't be. You know, if you ask a question about their doctrine, if you ask too many questions, you're getting kicked out. You're gonna be labeled the A word, and you're gonna get kicked out. You're gonna lose your family, and you know it. A lot of people don't speak up, and to me, that is not love. That is oppression. And I feel that the Jehovah's Witnesses at some point in their history, because of their thirst to create a perfect religion, guys, you just lost control of yourself, and you've created the very thing that I feel Jesus fought against. Because part of the reason that he was always arguing with the Pharisees was because they were always imposing all these heavy burdens on the people. And you are doing the very, very thing. And what's crazy is, like, I can now see movies. I'm aware of what's going to happen in the next regional assembly. I've seen some of the videos that are going to be there. And yeah, it's just now you're twisting things, and you're putting those who leave in a very negative light when you don't even know their story. You don't even know why they left. And now you're comparing the ones that leave the witnesses, and you call them the A word, and you act as if they're the devil himself, but you don't even know them. How can you, like, compare someone with the devil just because they leave, just because they don't believe in you anymore? it's uh it's inhumane. It's inhumane, and it's not right. And I see the pushing of, be a pioneer, go here, go to Bethel, don't go to school, all of this stuff. This is the same stuff that they were saying decades ago. And I know in this 2025 Regional Assembly, they're going to have a video that talks about people that say that used to say this decades ago. And someone may watch that and be like, haha, there you go, that's the tactic of Satan. Well, am I wrong though? They have been saying all of that. And here's the thing. Look, if somebody makes a mistake, an honest mistake, that's fine. But you're asking people to give up their future for an Armageddon that you have no clue when it's coming. And you keep telling them that it's right around the corner. And I ask, what if it's not? So, my offense about them right now, what I take to heart about their practices, is that they ask people for everything. Like, it's not just enough that you go to the hall 2 times a week and you got to go on service on Saturday because your group overseer is going to be calling you. But now it's like, hey, give us everything. Come and go to Bethel. Don't go to school. Work part-time because the end is right around the corner. What if it's not? Because you have been wrong before. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a more practical way to be like, hey guys, we should be strengthening ourselves. Our spirituality, keep going to the meetings. Keep doing this and keep doing that. And but you guys are like just running people to the ground. And now when those people decades later they get upset at you because they followed your lead, you're like, apostate, out, shun him. Like, you're just silencing dissent. Does that make you any different from North Korea? Does it make you any different from the Nazi regime? This is just, it's outrageous. The level of control, the level of authoritarian and oppressive system. This is insane. And again, it is the labeling of those who leave as they're the devil. That is insane. That is crazy. And then people who leave, you're like, well, he wanted prominence. How could I have wanted prominence? I was a 30-year-old elder and pioneer. If I wanted prominence, I would have left. Do you think that I left everything, lost my entire family, all of my friends, had to move to a different state just to survive because I wanted more prominence? Like what is here, guys? What in the heck? Like, I hate to rant. Actually, no, I like it. But anyway, I don't want to rant. I want to be respectful. Which brings me to my last thing that I wanted to say. I can hear somebody now like, dude, why are you wearing a mask? Well, because the entire system works on trying to silence dissent. And I show my face. Woo! Get them, guys. And that is just insane. That is crazy. So my mask is just a symbol, a representation of how oppressive the system is. That people cannot speak up because if they do, you will silence them. You will shut them up. What are you guys doing? And that to me, these are the reasons why I left. And I'm inactive. My conscience does not allow me to continue as an elder or a pioneer or mic holder or anything. And you guys are absolutely inhumane by the way that you treat people. You guys are wrong. You're wrong. And what's crazy is how you treat those who leave, those who speak up. You guys are absolutely just insane with the level of control that you have on people. And you discourage people from reading outside information. What are you guys doing? And now you get all, bent out of shape if somebody calls the Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. Like, seriously? Have you guys ever looked up the definition of a cult? Have you guys ever looked up the bite model by Dr. Stephen Hassan? You guys fit literally every single aspect of that. It's insane. And it's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. I mean, that's all I gotta say. So this is my story. I don't want to keep rambling on about other things. But this is it. I wish I had a catchphrase for the end, but frankly, I don't think I'm going to be making a lot of videos because that's just not my thing. So, take care, everyone. For those who have left, stay strong. I know it's not easy at all. And for those who are questioning, you don't need to listen to stuff that you don't feel comfortable listening to. But I encourage you to read the Bite Model, BITE, by Dr. Stephen Hassan. And just see for yourself. See for yourself. You don't want to leave your entire life in the hands of another person. And at the very least, what my message is that the organization's leadership don't have more of a clue about what's going on, or about what the Bible says, or about when the end will come than you and I. And if you think that makes me evil, and if you think that makes me bad, okay. It is what it is. That just means that this message is not for you.